its favorable decision on deck. Do you have any questions, Mr. Peck?
Do you have anything to add?
No, I think it's very simple. I was even surprised that using the ARB had no issue, but to me it seems like a deck repair, but it's always good to have these things get looked at and make sure we know what we're doing.
So it's not just cutting and shrinking, it's the whole deck is being replaced?
The deck surface itself, we're going to check the joists. We think a lot of the joists are probably good shape. We can reuse those. We're hoping that as it is. But we'll assess it. You know, right now we have to do so much excavation to see what it is. It just makes more sense that we assess that as we're going.
Anybody on the board have any questions, issues?
No.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
All in favor? Do I have a second on it? The first one, you need a break. It won't be the last, that's for sure. Okay, second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Patty, Phil, somebody take these.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just put these in their box.
Okay. Okay. Sort of.
Okay. We'll go to continuations. ARB 16-49, 4 West Main Street, awning.
Good evening, I'm Navjot. I came here a few meetings before, and I found out that my application was not entirely complete, and I kind of jumped the gun by coming here, even though it was approved, but there was a little change needed to be done, which I made, and I couldn't be here in the last meeting, but here I am. So it's basic awning.
It's the same awning style.
Same awning style. Only thing is, earlier when we had submitted the initial one, we had put an awning on the second floor window as well, when you're going down the ramp. And Mr. Madden said that is not allowed, because it's, you can't have an awning on the second floor. And that's why we fixed that, removed that.
Okay, so all the awnings now are going to be on this one side of the building. So there's one long one and one short one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and at this point, from my perspective, it looks like maybe overkill on the logos. We have 3 logos within a very short amount of short distance.
We tried doing lettering of just Thai and Malaysian. It didn't work well, and I think it's a long enough awning, and the 2 logos kind of are symmetrical.
They are symmetrical. Anybody else have any concerns about the logos?
Yeah, I did think the same thing. I mean, now that the awning is longer, I know you can't go larger in the logo, but to have them side by side when there's not an entrance underneath, it's really just the windows and the face of the building. I know what Rick is saying.
Thank you.
Obviously, Bridge Street signed off on this. They have no problem with.
They wanted us to keep the black canopy like the others, and
Yeah, that was, for sure that was going to be an issue.
And
Can
is-
you remove the right logo on the long awning, just leave it where it is on the left and have it be black? It'll look the same.
you mean just do one?
Yeah, just do one on the left. Don't do it where the brick is. You have 2 instead of 3.
It will look empty. Either I do some wording there, and
Just an awning. It's just an awning, it'll be black and.
I don't think it'll look empty. I think it will look
would you
good.
like us to center that
No,
logo?
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
All right, can you approve me just for the one above the door, and then we redraw this? Is that-
We cross it off.
Yeah.
We can
We
approve
can
it
edit
if
it
you
right
agree
now
to
if
doing it
you're,
as we're saying,
that's acceptable.
right now.
And we'll cross it off.
So if I want to do the other long awning, I have to have only one logo, is that what you're saying?
preferable. It will look better.
One or none?
One or none. Okay. All right, so for now you can cross it off. I'll get this done. And then
Do you want to leave a plain black awning with no logo also? And if you want to come back and change it, I would think the plain black would look good as well. What do you think? So you'd have one with the logo over the door, and then the rest of
Yeah.
the logo is just, I mean, rather, the other awning is just black.
The only purpose of that awning is from a branding perspective. If it is just going to be black, then it's not doing anything.
Okay. I thought maybe it was providing something above the window.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's, nobody's going to stand there because there's a flower bed under it anyway, so it's not of any purpose for people outside to take cover under, you know.
If you vary the graphic and then make it 3 logos one after another, then it's a different story. But it doesn't really make sense to put a logo 3 times across one face of the building. It's not furthering your brand in any way. You can
If
read
any-
it. So,
I mean, 8 years back when we opened Chutney Masala, I don't know if you remember, we could only do one sign, Chutney Masala, on the other side, it said Indian Bistro, because at that time, the law was that you cannot have multiple logos around the building.
right.
Now, I don't want to, that's why we wanted to put it on the other side, so that there's visibility coming down, and you guys actually approved it. And then I found out that I had jumped the gun, and the application was not reviewed by him, and he told me that the second floor awning is not allowed, according to village code.
This seems like a great idea.
Maybe you could take a variance on that?
No, we can't. So when it comes to us, we assume that it meets code, so we were unaware that that was not allowed. Or we obviously would have said something at the time.
Okay. What I'm gonna need you to do, if you wanted to proceed with just the one, I'm gonna need you to, cross out what you don't want and just write in there, you're willing to accept just one at this time and sign it. All right?
Are we going to vote now or later?
Okay. Well, do I have a motion to approve the application as amended?
So moved.
Second? Second is all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Didn't hear you. 4?
I'll have to do it.
All right, let's move on to the first revision. I don't believe 116 and 118 Main Street, 20 North Dutcher, and 1 North Broadway have any submissions tonight, so we'll move to revisions.
20 North Dutcher.
20 North Dutcher is here.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Paperwork.
There was nothing in the packet.
Give me the bar.
Should we come up?
Yes, please.
Basically, we have old ugly siding, and we have the ugliest house on Dutch Street now. And I hate that.
I was here a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so he brought a sample of 2 texture, this was the sample he brought, so we have crafted, this is the current siding, not good. So these are some of the samples that we were hoping would be helpful to you guys, that are much smoother.
Kind of like this.
Like, you know,
Just for our purposes, we're trying to find the drawings. I seem to recall, was there a problem with the drawings last
we
time?
brought-
Did you?
Yeah, I
Well,
brought, it should be in the
Ron-
packet, I dropped them off today,
Maybe they didn't.
and the
come
woman,
back.
Yeah, we got our packets on Thursday, so we
I
didn't
think we have
receive
some
it. Do you have an extra
of
copy?
those,
here is, yeah, it's not, the website was down.
Our contractor was finally able to.
Yeah, and then this is the example of the frame that's gonna be around the windows. We're gonna put in like a wood.
And then for some reason, where the door is, it's still yellow, and obviously it wouldn't stay that way. I don't know why he wasn't able to.
And then you're leaving the scalloped shingles on the
leaving
gable.
scalloped shingles, yeah.
So that's gonna be left wood, and then you're putting the vinyl.
That's actually vinyl.
Yeah.
Oh, it is vinyl.
Yeah.
You wanna see them closer?
Okay, so I'm sorry. So that you're saying,
Yeah, that,
what's staying and what's being
yeah,
replaced?
is there an original
There
picture
might be a
of
couple
her?
of different.
Yeah, because there's a couple floating around.
This is a
Right now we
Photoshop
have vinyl
picture.
scallop
That's what?
This is a
siding.
Photoshop.
Yeah.
Photoshop the shingles on.
Yeah,
It's gonna be the
okay.
shingles.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's just
So our original
Photoshopped on.
house is the ugly yellow one. So we're gonna keep the scalloped ones that are on the top.
Nice.
And I'm assuming this texture is kind of more in line.
That's the better of what, my opinion.
You had the original. We started with this, do you remember?
Yeah. Well, I,
The original concern was we didn't like the sample he had.
Yeah, it was too
We thought it was
textured,
just
and
looked
then I didn't have
bad.
the renditions,
Right.
Photoshop.
okay, and so I'm sorry, so now the material
Now
you're
it would be,
proposing?
you know, it'd be more like this
This one,
kind
yeah,
of
like a
texture.
smooth cedar shape.
Okay, so we're going from a clapboard to a shape.
Here's the existing.
Is that the actual material?
This is it, in the front of my house.
Please. I see it. Oh, yeah, photographs. Accuse myself.
Okay, and the material you're proposing, what's it called?
There are,
Cedar impressions?
yeah, cedar impressions.
And which color?
We are gonna do flagstone.
Do you have a swatch of that color?
Yes.
No, I think we're doing it for Pacific Blue.
Well, yeah, if you guys wanna give an opinion, we have a discussion between those two. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, just, I'm sorry, so I'm trying to follow, is that this is a Photoshop, so this has charcoal gray, Pacific blue, so you're saying
Yeah.
a flagstone?
I think flagstone, we've flip-flopped many times, but that's the color family we're interested in.
Those are the actuals.
Yeah.
So the actual, what is the actual, what are the scalloped part? What is that? What color is that now?
That is, like a saw, I think there's a,
More
it's
like a
like a
taupe.
brown, yeah, exactly, it's like a taupe.
Cell phone.
Sort of like, and this one, sort of, maybe
little
slightly
darker.
darker, maybe it's between those.
Yeah.
So any part of the house now, is there any original detail?
No.
Carpet, wood, nothing?
No.
Nothing's
It
left?
is covered in plastic, yes.
And you're not replacing any of the windows, this is just the siding?
Now, any other questions from the board?
I mean, I assume you apply it the same? Everything's gonna look the same?
Yeah, I mean, I think last time we recommended looking into like a hardy siding, just because it's a better product than this, but
Yeah, I mean, we're,
this is just. I mean, I should warn you, it's not gonna look good.
It's not gonna look,
No. It's not. It's not a good look. But
What is the hardy siding? It's like a.
it looks like clapboard. It's a much more elegant, refined product. This is not a good look. It looks like wrapping your house in plastic. The scale of it's wrong, the texture of it's wrong. It's not nice. You're not improving the look of your house by putting this on it.
Wow. Have you seen this one?
You're not improving the look of your house by
What would
putting this
an
on.
appropriate scale be for our house?
Just clapboard. You would never, like with the scallop shingle, if you're leaving those up in the gable, like you should just put a clapboard, you should put a hardy clapboard on your house that has a full body color in it, and you're done. And it's gonna be far more aesthetically pleasing. I don't know the cost difference, I don't know if this is a cost driven thing or somebody's pushing you into this, but it's not a good look, in my opinion. It's not a good look for the town, it's not what we're trying to do in the town of Irvington, is support this approach to siding a house. I think that's what we said last time too.
Yeah, you
I
mentioned
mentioned
that.
to look at the hardy. It's just a,
I think that the main issue was the texture, but,
Well, yeah, the texture is also the type of material, and what Andrew's trying to say is, I mean, you have a lovely house, it's in the village, and to the extent that you want it to look like the other houses, which it sounds like you do, there's other products out there that would go further than the one you've picked, and I too am not sure about the cost differential, but if you're really looking more for aesthetics, then what Andrew's recommending will make the house look much better, it's gonna look more like the original. And the type, the actual aesthetic look will look better if you don't go with that type of.
are you familiar with which one it's on?
it's called hardy plank siding.
Hardy plank.
I was wondering if one of the architects.
There you go.
have it.
Bobby, do you have a piece of hardy plank?
Yeah.
Let me have it, you have a great piece, don't you?
It just looks
Bobby has a piece.
like horizontal siding.
Hey, baby.
There's a few others tonight that are actually applying that material, you can take a look at it. It's not,
So there are two houses
It's
that
still
just had this
fabricated.
done on our block,
Yeah,
on Croton Place.
yeah.
I think it was that
This?
color. Less texture.
You can,
Less texture.
Yeah.
you can get it textured or flat.
Yeah, so it looks like wood.
Yeah, that's
And it's
smooth.
piece by piece? Like-
No, it's-
No,
it's
It's
even,
clapboard.
it's even
It
better.
was on the same way, kind of.
Does not go on the same way
No.
as that.
Cost
Goes
more,
on like a clapboard.
cost more.
I'm not
Yeah,
familiar with the
does it
process.
cost?
Well, not-
more?
All the time,
Okay, Patty, come on.
The shingle vinyl is not inexpensive.
Yeah, it's not.
And the hardy plank is repairable,
Yes.
which the vinyl is not. You have a problem with your vinyl, you have to start looking to try and match it. You get the hardy plank, has the benefits of the same as having the wood, except it doesn't have any of the problems with deterioration.
We will approve the hardy plank siding tonight for you.
There's an architect waiting for you out there, you have to ask a question.
We won't do that. Because we don't have to. But I will ask you, do you want to go forward with this the way it is, or do you want to?
I mean, we'll do the hardy plank, if we, you know? I don't think there should be an issue.
Well, if it's wildly more expensive, that's gonna be an issue. I think, or how about if can we do the front of the house and then the
No.
back and the sides with this?
No.
The peanut gallery said no. Wow.
We need to get it. We wanted to. If you want
Because my contract is available right now, and he's giving me a good price if we can start.
Why can't we just cross it up from the vinyl to the hardy?
I have to see what the can
Unless you
Well,
pick
you
one of,
could.
unless you pick one of those.
Yeah, it's the gray.
Yeah, I just want it to be like a
Take a picture of it with your phone and give it to your contractor. Tell them what you want.
Well, you wanted it slightly darker than that?
I would
No, just
prefer it
as
a
a-
little bit.
Yeah, and Hardy has,
They
yeah,
have a whole
and that
color
comes out
palette.
really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Promise.
I mean, we
Will
would
it be
be more in
available
this
with
range.
our contractor, but to go pick it up?
Where are your color samples here? Just use that, and call it match the flag.
Yeah, yeah.
I think,
Shouldn't be an issue.
Good idea. But the color obviously is your choice, we're not dictating color, we're just, if you're trying to find a comparable hardy plank color, and that we're just telling you that that's one.
And what
option.
size is this plank, just so we can acknowledge it? What's it say?
It's basically a 6-inch.
It's an exposure.
4.5.
You can, yeah, you can do 5.
5-inch
Five,
exposure is what it should be.
Yeah.
What's that?
5-inch exposure.
Okay.
Not that you have no
5
figures.
inches.
5 inches the way to go, you think?
That means it's a 6-inch piece and there's overlap.
Okay, alright.
So glad we all agree.
Do we all get little votes out here?
What I need you to do is.
Price now, so you know the difference.
Not that your neighbors
Yeah.
are here.
The whole village, sorry about that. It's usually empty, it just happens to be tonight.
Just sign.
You know, honestly, you've got the world's best architects behind you. If you're gonna ask somebody, I would turn around and ask those sitting right next to you.
For me, I feel like.
Yeah, actually, you're coloring.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve as amended?
And we're approving party
Party
plank,
plank, smooth finish.
smooth finish, and the color you'll decide, and I think you'll be very happy.
Basically, a sample, so Bobby's been done, he's gonna need it.
I think your husband may have.
Now, hand them both, hand them
Are you done?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck.
He wanted to just take it easy for a second, Greg, but he missed you too.
Miss you. Get out.
Twins.
Yes.
I know we have a full house, but the only reason we went for the long awning was to cover this piece of metal that is there, and it has some kind of a chain link under it, but if a better solution might be just covering the window with a smaller awning and not covering it all the way with just the one window. This was the reason why we went with the long awning, because to cover this ugly piece of.
Do you want to amend this picture to show that? We can approve that? Okay, what I wrote.
And if you would like a fair one, I can submit it tomorrow with.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
We voted on that? Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually reopen the application and ask for a motion to approve the application as amended,
So
Second?
move.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along, we are now at, was there any other continuations in the house? 16-60 Fisher or 16-65, 1 North Broadway? Okay, moving to revisions. ARB 15-89, 286 Riverview Road, McAllen Burgos, revision. I just want to remind everybody, when you do come up to make a presentation, please speak into the microphone, tell us who you are and who you represent, and we can move along from there.
My name's Christina Griffin. I'm the architect for the renovation of this house and pool house, and we're here just for the fence that is going to be the last piece of the renovation. And I designed a fence to go with the house, is shades of gray, and fences in natural cedar. It's just the last piece in the renovation of the property. It goes around the pool and also goes around the air condenser pad. You have the black and white.
Yeah.
This is the color version.
Was the movement of the air conditioning condensers in the original?
No.
That's in this.
That's the change.
Okay, well, my initial question before I actually drove to the site was why that fence only went halfway up the backyard until I saw the size of the rock that,
Yes.
the rock outcropping that was there, and that answered that question. So at this point, I don't have any additional questions. Anybody from the board? Nope. Nope. Anybody here, ladies? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the application?
So move.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Second revision, ARB 16-54, 37 Jeffrey Court. To revision, Lobel, represented by.
Douglas McCloy, architect for the Lobels. The client has decided they would like to go forward with changing the siding. So we're using this vinyl shingle siding. So we're going to use a hardy plank. It's going to be this gray, but it's going to be smooth. The only sample that they already have is textured. The window trims, the corner trims, the fascias will all be the same color, and will all be done in hardy. Right now it's a white aluminum siding.
You answered my other question of the sample. Any questions from the board? No question. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Moving along to third and final revision, Two Stearns Ridge, ARB 14-65, revision.
Good evening, Patty Steinschneider, Gotham Design and Community Development. We're the architectural design firm working for the developer and owner of the property, Josh Brain, and the contractor, Bob Marinkovic. And we've made a number of changes. Most of these were discussed as it was going on with various people in the village, but I think it was just that by the time we got done, it was so extensive that we realized we really needed to come and get it cleaned up, make sure everybody's happy with the decisions that were made. I think the decisions were all good ones. The house came out really nicely. We originally had a lot more stucco on the house, and when we had it framed up, when we started realizing how the house was going to look, we felt that the stucco would make it look too massive. So the idea of using the wood shingles helped break that down. We also half-framed the tower roof, which was originally designed to be the same pitch as the main roof, and it looked like something had gone wrong. It just looked bad, so we went to a steeper pitch on it so that it would have the right proportion with the rest of the house. We added brackets and panels under the bay window here. Doing this in the panels and the trim around this window on the second floor it looked nice on the drawings. When we saw it in the field, it was like we were trying too hard. So just continuing the shingles around on that seemed to calm that down.
So that would be, I'm sorry for interrupting, but that would be your, letter E on your list.
Yeah.
Just point to the window that you're referring to.
Yeah, the bathroom window above.
Okay.
Actually, if you call out the thing, I'll point to it. I'm on the list.
Well, there was really only 2 or 3 questions that I had.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing here was we originally had standing seam metal here, which again, I thought was going to be cool looking, but the whole goal in this, once we started doing the house, was to calm it down. The feeling, I think, was that, as Bob probably attests, I can get a little bit excited about design ideas, and the builder and the developer both felt that it was a good idea to keep it calmer. Another thing I really liked was that we found that we could work with the stone on site. So we actually, the stone that we removed on the site, we used to, on both around the front door and also on the back, where we had the family room.
Okay. Previously proposed combination of wood panels and stucco on the exterior walls of the family room has been changed to stone cut. Just point out to where that is.
So that's this whole area. I also have photos. Would that be helpful?
I think this is all right.
Okay, so, yeah, this was originally going to be panels of wood and stucco, and so we did the whole family room, if you will, with the stone.
What's the roof shingle?
It's an asphalt heavyweight where you get a shadow line. It's not one of those shaky looking ones. It looks like you're trying to be something else. I think it was a DAF. DAF Grand Slate Color Aged Oak.
Okay. The only other question I had was on that. I guess you want to bring that drawing up again. The exterior staircase is done. That's that.
Yeah,
that
that's
balloon
what,
with nothing in it.
Well, we had a staircase coming off the deck. I still think it would be nice having it because it gets you from the first floor to the yard. The feeling of the client was that it seemed too inviting, and the fact that you've got such an exposure there with the school, that having the staircase go on that side was just kind of sending the wrong message. I doubt the kids would come up and go up it, but they decided they preferred not having the staircase, so they didn't build it.
Okay, out of your list, anything else that was noteworthy as far as you're concerned? I mean, everything else was pretty obvious to me. But.
Yeah, only things that would be of concern to you. I mean, I highlighted that we added the lattice under the deck. I think those are all good things, so if you guys have questions.
More steel rails, where were those at?
We added steel rails on the steps where we come out from the room above the garage, and also down under the, you can walk down some steps to get into the basement. And I think code-wise, we were okay not having a railing there, but Ed much preferred having, the building inspector much preferred having the railing in case kids are running around the yard, they don't go over the wall. And it's only, it's less than 30 inches, but still, it's like kind of something that somebody could get confused.
It's not, is it under the deck?
Yeah. It's under, it actually lines up with the deck. I can have a photo if you want to see it.
Sure.
I also have photos of Maley that I brought. So that's the railing that's under the stairs, and here is the railing that is up back on the back of the house going into the entrance. That one actually required by code. And the idea, I think, going with the metal railing, which is lighter and kind of fades out in the black, we felt was better than trying to do anything. I didn't want to do anything else if it was wood than the mahogany. I thought the mahogany would just seem like too much on the house. And I'm wearing my hat, not because I'm being disrespectful, but I've had major cuts done by a surgeon, so, you know, trying to make me better looking. So.
Send the pictures over.
Here's the pumpkin by the front door.
Gentlemen, any questions? Ladies, any questions? Okay.
No ideas, Heather, nothing?
Want me to give you a-
No, I don't.
Be careful what you ask.
Yeah.
I'll give 'em. You ask.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the application?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 You want to keep them for the file?
Actually, I will,
Okay.
but I want to give you these.
Yeah, likewise.
I want to get hernia going home. It's better. I got one coming in.
I was wondering why you guys wanted to get rid of them all. So you don't have to take them home.
Sorry, I'm not.
Are you saying you doing service?
I'm doing Sarah's and I'm doing Sylvia's upstairs. Nope, no way.
You want these?
Okay. Done with revisions, going to new matters. ARB 16-72, 129 Rue du Bois Lane, exterior elevation change. Ballet, I'm sure it probably.
Good evening. My name's Bill Wood. I'm the architect for the homeowners, Steve Ballot and Minnie Borisoff. What we have here is basically an interior renovation that does require us replacing and relocating a couple of small windows and a new door on the back of the house. The property is in the Field Point Association, who has strict architectural guidelines. As you may be aware, they have approved the design. On this side of the property, we are replacing 2 windows on the side. Again, this property faces the woods. On the rear of the house, we're removing large windows and replacing it with a 4-panel door. The siding and trim will all match existing. That's the extent of what I have today.
So the doors, the 2 doors, or the 4 door sections are replacing what?
There's actually large glass panels that are being replaced with a 4-panel door.
Is there any lighting at that point?
No, just existing lighting on the back of the house.
I didn't have any other questions. Anybody?
No.
Motion to approve?
So moved?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
There's some drawings that you may want to take with you. Sure. Okay, moving along, ARB 16-73, 10 Castle Road, fence, Ficalora.
Good evening, Paul Piccolora. I'm representing my parents, Anthony and Von Piccolora, at 10 Castle Road, for the application to install a fence in the backyard.
The application came with a sample of what the fence looks like. However, I wasn't sure of how the fence is going to be supported. Is there a
There are going to be posts, some 2 feet into the ground, and they're going to be 2x2 aluminum posts.
Okay. Do we have any ideas to, I don't think it says here, it's probably black finish, okay. Okay. Anybody have any questions on the board? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second? Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Just in case.
Here you go, Paul.
Moving along, ARB 16-74, 50 South Buckout Street, sign.
Peter Reynolds, the North Architects, representing Ali Fisher and Ali. For a pair of signs on the rental property on the first floor on the basement subterranean floor. Or signage for the retail outlet or 39 main store. very similar signs in gray, essentially a slate gray, 3/4 inch thickness, mounted to the stucco. One that's more directionally into the facilities, just one of the white lettering in
I was happy to see that the sign color changed from what it originally was to what it is now. It certainly matches the building a lot better than it did.
Yeah, I think we're all with that.
Okay. Do you have any questions from the board? I have a motion to approve the application.
So moved.
Second. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pick up.
Okay.
Thank you. ARB 16-75, 18 North Buckout Street fence.
Good afternoon. When we bought the house in '68, there was a fence along front. And old and decrepit and moldy. So last year, I was not realizing that changing the look required approval. So I have pictures here of the old fence and the new fence.
The photographs answered my question. I was not sure because the paperwork that came with it showed two different fences. One was a stockade and one was a concave
The
scallop top.
stockade didn't need a permit.
No, but I
Yeah, the
didn't know what you were
stockade
asking for.
program,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Why
That's
didn't
okay.
the stockade need a permit?
Because it replaced what was already there. It didn't change the function. It doesn't matter.
Yes, no, I didn't realize that was, that's, I thought if you put up a fence in the village, regardless if you're replacing it with the same type, you still have to come before, that's not true?
They've included the fence.
Okay, any questions from the board?
So, sorry, thank you very much. Okay, so basically the fence that's in the front, you're replacing
Right.
with a fence that looks basically the same color, same style. I mean,
Yeah, now it's the white ticket.
Right.
It had been, no, the other, that's the old one.
I understand, yeah, because it's already there, I understand.
Okay, I'm gonna keep these if you don't mind. With the application. Any other questions from the board? Nope. Motion to approve the application?
So approved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. ARB 16-76, 10 Cedar Lawn Road, repair, deck repair. Anybody here for that? Only one? Okay, we'll move on. Try that back later in case they can. ARB 16-77, 5 Downing Court, repair driveway.
Good evening. Jack Lee, I'm the owner of the 5 Mountain Court. I am repairing the existing retaining walls and the asphalt on the new driveway. And I'm also redoing the walkway. That's about it.
Okay, I understand by driving by that the old walls were down, done. This is a wall that has not been put up yet, and the walkway has not been done yet, correct?
Correct, nothing has been done yet.
I didn't have any questions that jumped right out at me. Certainly there's going to be an improvement on railroad tie walls for sure. Does anybody from the board have any questions?
Just a clarification, that the stone that you'll be using is what?
It's gonna be a natural stone. It's gonna be white, not white, but it's gonna be natural stone.
I'm afraid I don't know, but so,
That could be one of 100 things.
yeah, what does that mean?
Probably like granite, right?
It is.
It's like a Yonkers granite.
Yes.
That's man, you know what that is?
I mean, that's 9 out of 10, that's what it's going to be.
Oh, Billy's gonna tell me I just doubled it.
Okay, so the natural
I know.
stone, Yonkers granite, will be where the retaining wall is?
Correct.
And the actual sidewalk, the paved walkway, what will that be?
It's gonna be pavers or small pavers.
Just to be consistent here, you really do need to get a picture of a stone wall that you're matching, and a sample.
There was no stone wall, it was.
No. So we have an idea of what it is you want to do. Like another stone wall that you say this is what it's going to look like.
I see.
So we have something to, and same thing with the pavers. We don't know what pavers, you're going to be using on this. We're proving a million things if we just go ahead and prove this. I'm not so sure that if we vote on it tonight, it's going to pass. I mean, if you withdraw the application and come back in 2 weeks with some samples of what it is you're going to do, unfortunately, I don't see any other way to go beyond that. Same thing with the pavers. Just give me some idea of what the paver, is going to look like.
The problem is the drawing says, for example, new paved walkway. It's not enough specificity for us to approve it, and I'm sorry they didn't tell you that before you came, but typically we need a name or a sample. Photograph. Is it gonna look like your neighbors? Maybe take a photograph of that if you don't actually have the material, but you know it's the same.
It's the same as the neighbor, exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same stone. It's the same contractor, same stone.
So with us not having looked at that wall because we didn't think there was a need to, we don't know what that is. If you want us to vote on it tonight, I can't guarantee it's going to pass, but at this point, if you withdraw the application and come back in 2 weeks.
Hold on. You know what you can do? Yep. Go take a picture. We're gonna be here.
You're gonna be
We're gonna be here. So you don't have to wait. Yeah, so you don't have to
But
wait.
you have a copy, you know what papers
I'm going to help you out a little bit.
Yeah.
So, can you come over here for a second? Just, which house is this you? That's the neighbor.
This is exactly the same wall.
You made a picture too.
Yeah. So, how do you know what's the address of your neighbor?
Should be 10 Downing Court.
This is you, right? That's you.
This is me, correct.
Okay, so.
Very nice.
Yeah. It's very nicely done. Is it papers that you're doing in the driveway?
No, the driveway is gonna be asphalt.
No, so this is a stone, Okay, let me just try one more. Okay, here it is. Pass it down the line, that's what he's matching.
On the wall or?
The wall and the paver. Stone and the driveway.
Paver is the same paver as that as well?
Pavers are gonna be, pavers are gonna be similar color. They're gonna be round pavers, they're not gonna be rectangular pavers the way he has them. Most likely gonna be round. Yes.
So that's the neighbor's house, and you can, if you move it over, you can see his house.
I think it's the Star
Star
Police.
Police.
That's Star Police.
Is that what?
The last name of the family is Star
Yes.
Police, yeah.
Yes.
And you said it's 10, right?
10.
Okay, so what you want to do for him,
That's, you need to just write it on the plan.
What's the address of the neighbor? At Davenport?
Star Police.
If you read that, yes. I just need you to sign it, that's exactly what. Just date, today's date 10/24. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the application as amended to be the same as, the retaining walls to be the same as 10 Downing Court, Scarpoli on the wall, and the octagon pavers on the wall plate? All right, good, yeah. I've added two magic colors. Motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You're very well. 10, pulling a good photo out of nowhere.
All right, yes. I'll see you back.
Okay. ARB 16-7817 Meadowway Landscaping, retaining wall, another retaining wall, outlay.
Good evening, I'm Vanna Shura, the architect presenting this upgrade on this application. We're here to present an extension to the existing driveway currently flanked off the hill, and there is a small backup area, and this is, I'm showing you the view from the street point at the entrance of the property. This is with the existing wall, and this is with the proposed wall. So we're basically putting out 20 feet in front. We also extending the wall, and then we're removing some of the stone, reusing it and matching it and blending it back. So technically, it's the exact same wall, we just put forward 20 feet to be able to back out of the driveway and then face forward. If there's one car in that driveway right now, it's very hard to maneuver. So that's the extent of the application. We also, there would be a fence above that, and there we're using, the detail is, what's in the packet is matching the existing grading in the entire property. There is fencing all around the pool area. We're using the same wrought iron, same finish, same profile.
My main question was the railing going to match the existing? You tell me it does. Is the way it's being secured the same way as the wall that's there?
Totally, and actually the builder who made the original house is doing this house, this renovation. And we do have a sample of the actual stone if you like, and the,
It's to match the existing stone?
yes, like I said, the part that we're gonna be removing,
Yeah,
we'll be mixing with the stone to match and then put it on.
All right. Those are my questions. Anybody from the board have any questions? No? Okay, so I have a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you so much.
Take the drawings with you. Feel that? Pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Good evening.
Okay. ARB 16-79, 16 Station Road, Jerez. Exterior elevation change, some windows. Speak a little more closer to the mic. I think it's your shirt's on. I don't think so. Yeah.
It's a alteration project that requires rotating the windows, so it can provide 3 feet. Basically the same window, everything will be pretty much existing.
So are you reusing the same window?
Yes, we're using the same window. Although expansion allows we may consider putting a new window matching the size. As the box, all white finish. That's pretty much it.
Any questions, anyone?
No.
Okay, motion to approve?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good luck.
Okay. ARB 16-80, 57 Field Terrace, retaining wall landscaping, Jenkins.
Yes. Gentleman, 31 Architecture, representing Karen Dave Jenkins. Project's for the addition of a retaining wall. It says here, I think, on the side front yard of the house. The retaining wall is a stone retaining wall, which is intended to match the existing walls in the house. If you've been to the site, you've seen there's a extensive stone retaining wall now as part of the site, as the site. So the wall is intended to match that. The limit of the wall is this line here, and associated with it, there's a single tree well here, and then there's some screening that either trees and shrubs that is intended to be the same thing that creates the tree within the hedgerow at the top, the planning board asked that we provide fall barrier. So we are showing a rail in that area, which the client was happy with of the 3 solutions that the planning board asked us to do there.
Question, was a better description of what the fencing was going to look like?
Yeah, it's a split rail with 2 rails. The goal is to have the shrub eat it, so there's nothing left. I think we may continue to look at options. If we do, we'll come back to you, but I think this is where we...
This is where the U edge is, the ribbon edge is.
Yeah. So then the question becomes like if you...
What's the fall from?
What's the what?
What's the fall from? Where are you falling from?
I try. I try. I don't know where the fall is from either. And there's no walking surface adjacent to it. There's a planting hedge in the way. I tried.
So you're gonna put the fence behind the hedge?
Right, so then we end up seeing it, so the thought was if this met the planning board's requirements there, if we plant it to the front side of it, there's a little bit of a bed, cover it on the front side.
Not that it will, but duly noted.
I mean, I don't think it'll have much of a visual impact in the street, the visual impact is really on the concrete side, and we're gonna try to mitigate that with more planting underneath. Maybe not evergreen planting, but some kind of planting behind.
Show where the driveway is to that house.
It's just this little piece here.
Any other questions from the board? Nobody? Do we have a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
Second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Very nice. Good luck.
Thank you. John?
Real trouble with pegs.
Yeah, you broke it through and covered the property.
Sorry,
One more.
You're on tape.
Oh, really? It's good.
Okay. ARV 16-81, 68 Riverview Road, landscaping, retaining walls, retaining walls, done. Barry Stewart, Stewart.
Stuart Berry.
Oh, you're here.
Okay. John Malone, Principal in Architecture, representing Chad and Susan. Stuart Berry. This is a project that is really driven by trying to control water. There's a ledge rock that this house is built on. There's water moving into the basement, so they are adding a retaining wall on this side of the driveway, the uphill side, and putting drainage behind it. That's what it was driving at. There's also an extension of a patio, which I think is designed to improve their yearly parking. So I think that's the limit of the proposed scope here. For retaining wall, we have a specification for granite wall stem, which is similar to the wall stem that's in the area.
I was a little concerned or confused. Are we using a brick or a bluestone paver?
There is a bluestone paver here. There is there's a brick walk in the front. There's potentially a little bit of brick paver here in this area where the driveway is being built.
John, can you point to the wall again? I'm sorry.
It's just this.
Right at the edge. It's on the edge of the other driveway.
Yeah, the other driveway is headed up this way, and then there's a large retaining wall kind of right back here, like a rubble retaining wall, and there's it's really sort of a tall curve almost.
And the neighbors in agreement.
Yeah.
That would have been.
Maybe
Still
on
on
tape,
board.
aren't it?
Yep.
Neighbor's house is pink. They're in agreement.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Yeah. Motion to approve the application?
So moved.
Second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
More stuff comes in. Okay, yeah. This is you, and is that?
That's just the recent
Oh,
application.
that's,
We go now to ARV 16-82, 5 Stearns Ridge, landscaping. Actually a deck.
Yeah, staircase really. That's Eichstetter for the applicant, Amy Ziff and Jeff Glick. They bought the house several years ago. They have a nice porch on the back. They very good yard back and kids play, which is down the story. And at first they thought it was gonna work for them, but now they're realizing that when they want to run outside, that the kids are there, they have to go out, walk around the house, so they'd like to build a staircase coming off the porch into their yard. I have some photos to give a sense of how that all really feels. The first photo is taken from the street, so you can look back and see, back behind is where this is gonna be. The second photo is about halfway back, and you still aren't able to see the porch. And then there are 2 photos in the back of the porch.
This is the stair that you were building in the other house.
He just borrowed it.
Exactly. No,
Is it up against, I'm sorry, is it up against the house or?
Yeah,
is it-
it's a foot off the wall. It comes right off here down to a landing that's at a height that you can walk off onto the garden, and then it comes back down towards the terrace underneath the porch.
The landing, and then it goes to two different ways.
Yeah.
Can you show that on the drawing?
Sure. So here you're on the deck, or the porch. You walk down 7 minutes, you're on a landing. The landing, basically, it's a cantilever that comes across above the existing retaining wall to get you the access into their garden. And then if you come here, you go down the stairs and you're underneath the deck, or you can, just come around and get to that.
Which way is south in this?
South is down straight.
It's down straight.
Right.
So, let me just ask, why wouldn't you just do a straight run? Have the land?
Yeah, they're play equipment. They have a play area in the backyard that's already there with swings and contraptions to climb on. So they were concerned if we came straight down, we were basically walking into that. So we actually tried just about every direction. I was even suggesting that it made sense for them to come off on this side, but they didn't want it to break the fact that the kids could run back and forth through the yard. So we've been talking about this now for about a year. And we've done flags in the backyard with strings then attaching so that they can
Oh,
simulate.
so the thing isn't, now I see, the
Yeah.
structure's not on there.
It's not on. Yeah, this yard stuff.
Yeah, they did. Okay. Any questions from the board?
Painted the same color as the rail?
Everything matches. The railings all
And then
match the railings, the stringers all match the paint on the house, and the treads and the decking match the mahogany deck.
And it's gonna have a lattice underneath it, or?
We don't show a lattice underneath it. We're thinking actually that it's gonna be more of a climbing thing. They're actually talking about putting some rungs. So-
Okay, no, don't wanna know. Okay.
Yeah, I don't either, actually.
Yeah.
We'll let them do that after
Yeah.
we've got the
Yeah.
CFO on it.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
Second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
This is from, the other
Leave
one,
these for your.
Okay,
This
I'll
one.
just keep taking them.
right?
Patty, can I put these?
Oh, yeah.
So this is the lounge, okay, this one's the front, that one, the other one?
No.
Almost there, folks. Okay. We go now to, where are we? ARB 16 dash, oh, we did 83, okay, 16 dash 84, 44 South Farrow Street, Barnard. Barnard. Fence?
Yes. I'd like to introduce myself. Gotham Design and Community Development for Sarah Barnard. I don't know how many years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, Sarah did a fairly extensive project, effectively building a new house. It was a renovation, but it was very little of the original house that was there. At the time, the agreement with the neighbor was that we were going to replace their fence. And we've been trying to get a way to make that happen. The challenge in replacing their fence is that the paper street that ran through from Jaffrey to Barney Park,
Jeffrey Barney,
Yeah.
you're right.
was partially demapped. The portion that was demapped was on Sarah Barnett's property. The McGuire's portion was not demapped. So that while the existing fence comes all the way across, we've been told that to put the fence, to replace the existing fence with a new fence, because the existing is dilapidated, we would have to get all kinds of things to happen with the village. Now, we've been willing to try and make that happen, but it's taken a long time, and it hasn't yet been resolved by the trustees and the village attorney of what they would like to do. And at this point, we don't have the right to replace the portion that's on the McGuire's property that goes into the paper street. So what we're proposing at this point to get rid of the existing fence, which is unfortunate looking, is to put in a new fence on Sarah's property. So it will be basically the McGuire fence is about 1 foot on their property. That'll come down. The new fence will be 1 foot onto Sarah's property. The benefit in this is that to work on McGuire's, what they would like to do is match what Joe Clark has, which is the property that's immediately north of their property, which is a 6-foot fence on top of a really nice stone wall. Again, to do the stone wall and the fence means that we have to go to the zoning board and a lot of other steps. So what we're looking at this point is get the fence in, 6-inch fence on Sarah's property. 6-foot fence. On Sarah's property, so that solves that part of it. Then deal with whatever the McGuires would like to do with their stone wall, because what they could then do is have a stone wall that came across and then now have 2 feet behind the stone wall that could be like a seat or something like that for their yard. So it doesn't preclude us from doing what they wanted. It gets a new fence up, and the fence we're basically proposing is the one that matches Joe Clark's. So we'd be doing the same style fence and bringing that across. And because Sarah's portion of the paper street has been mapped, we can then bring the fence all the way up to where the traveled way is that traverses Sarah's property. We'll still leave the 4-foot open so that people can we will leave the 4-foot open so that people can still walk on the traveled way. That is an agreement that we made when we got the approvals originally. I don't know if there are any other questions you have. Here's just a picture that shows the landscaping that's existing. That will remain. So you can see that when you put that fence in, it's going to be pretty screened. And there's planting on the McGuire's side as well.
And the McGuires are good with this approach, because this was highly contentious at the time, so. Like,
yeah, this is the first step. You know, if I didn't have approval to do this, it doesn't give me much. Right now, what Ed's thinking is we could just go and do, except we can't. So
Is that Ed, sorry, Ed McGuire?
Ed McGuire, yeah. So what, this one, what we do is we establish, we can get a fence and we can solve that part of the problem. Sarah's still willing to cooperate with the McGuires to do the rest of it, if they would like to go ahead with it. If they decide they don't need it, then it's going to be because.
But they're in agreement to do this fence now.
We have not, this is Sarah's fence on her property. This is not the McGuire's fence on their property.
So this has not been discussed with them, what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's right.
They're aware of the fact that we've made this application, but I haven't had a conversation with Ed about it. My goal is to go to Ed with.
Ed, the building or
No,
inspector, Ed
The
McGuire?
neighbor.
The neighbor McGuire. And say, we got the approval to do this, which solves the problem he has, that he couldn't bring his fence over the front. So I think this is gonna be a solution that solves his needs. Sarah's paying for it, so it's all.
I know, but this has just been so contentious, and she did things she wasn't supposed to do.
She actually
And it's
did.
put, well, I mean, I live right here. I mean, I stayed out of it, but I know that it was like a war. So like, I
It was a
feel
war.
like you're asking us to approve something that will piss him off.
I don't wanna do that.
Have you told Mr. McGuire that you're here tonight seeking this?
No.
Has he seen a photo of it?
No, as I said, I've had the conversations with Mr. McGuire about what we're trying to do, and I think this gives us a solution. What could perhaps be a way for this to move to a next step is if this board has no objection to the fence, there's no need for approvals tonight.
That's fair.
I would then go to
Right.
Mr.
There you
McGuire
go.
and say, I think I found
That's a great
a
idea.
solution.
Yep.
What I didn't want to do is go to
Yeah.
McGuire's and say, I got this idea.
Right.
And then I bring it to the village and I'm told, now the reason you can't do that. So this gives us.
That sounds like a great idea.
So I'll do that and we'll, if we can continue to the next.
Yep.
This was an informal conversation, you're not
No,
here
it's
on
a
an
formal conversation, but he's pulling the application for tonight's meeting.
I'm asking for it to be pulled into. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you the photos.
Yes, I'll put that.
That's all.
Recusing myself.
So I will tell Ed to continue it to the next meeting.
Ed Marion.
Yep.
Ed McGuire, and that where we're at, and hopefully they will think that this is a good balance, that they get the fence they want without us having to get the village to demap the paper street, which I don't understand. How does the village demap half of the paper street? if you can't get from the street to the one property line, you can't get from that property line to the other street. It shouldn't be that.
I thought they were going to when the first.
We thought that was gonna
I
happen.
thought that was gonna happen during that process.
But the village
When she
attorney
bought,
has not
when
yet.
she bought that extra property. Not that I care anymore.
Do you want to give that, you take that in case you need an extra copy for the McGuires?
Not that you care anymore, yeah. You remind me every time I see you. How you don't care
This is
anymore.
being taped.
That's right, this is on being
This
taped.
is on
I'm
tape.
sorry.
This is being taped.
Okay, before we get to the last new matter, I just want to recall 16-76, 10 Cedar Lawn, repair deck, Meyer. Anybody? Okay. Okay, so we'll move to ARB 16-12, 30 South Broadway, Donato Capital.
Patty, you want the rest of Sarah's stuff?
I'll come and take more stuff.
All right, I'm gonna end up recusing myself on this anyway.
You don't have to do that.
Yes, I did.
Because you know somebody.
Well, I worked on that
We're going to speak one at a time, that's fine. It's not, you want to grab this microphone?
Good evening, my name is Len Tremaine, GRCH Architect Principal. The last time we were here, there were comments made by the board, and which I took note of. And since that time, the floor plans have evolved, and which initiated some changes in the last presentations that we showed to you on pretty much all the buildings, front, rears, and sides. So we wanted to keep you involved in the process of this evolution of plan. So what we have is within the main body of the site, and excluding this piece down here, we really have 4 different building types. We have the majority of the units of these duplexes. And then we also have the threeplex. And then we have what we call the walkout building condition here. And we also have a 4-plex affordable building, which is right here. So within this small development, we have quite a bit of variety. So this obviously would be the 3-unit building, which we're identifying as A, B, and an A1. This building has been modified quite a bit. We used to have fireplace chimneys in the front, but since that time, we've gone to a little bit more traditional look. So this is not a completion. This is really just a progress set of where we are right now, based on the floor plan and based on the style of architecture that we're trying to present and comments that we received last time. So these 2 units are essentially very similar unit types, except for the rears. It just has 2 different elements of the master bedrooms in the rear corners. And this middle unit is quite different than the A models. So it does present a bit of a change in elevation from end to end, which we find actually rather pleasing. And the same thing happens with the...
Excuse me 1 second.
Sure.
Gentlemen, could I ask you to bring the conversation outside? We're being a little bit distracted.
I'm sorry.
Thanks.
And the B unit in the rear, which is in the middle, also creates a change from end to end. And so this is what we're calling the 3-plex, which is this building right there.
Can I ask what's happening on the dormers?
Here?
No, what's the chamfer that I'm seeing on the dormers? What is that massing? Here.
What's that?
Is that a shed dormer going
This
back?
is a shed roof going
So
back.
what is that?
This is it hip at the top, so it's cutting back, coming up and cutting back.
How is this shed dormer dipping into the?
Oh, this is at a totally different pitch. So it's at a different plate height, and as it's coming back, this is gonna hit before it hits back into this main body of the roof.
Huh. I don't know how that's possible, but do you have? Oh, okay.
I don't have a profile of that.
Is the roof sloping, or does it change its pitch as it goes down?
This roof here,
It's
this roof is at a much shallower pitch than that.
Right, but it can't hip though, going into a steeper pitch. A shed dormer just comes.
Well,
off
this
the
is
roof.
actually, this is gonna be a piece of fascia here. Right. Going back as a hip. And then as this goes back, this will actually be a rake board to a fascia line, which will die back into this roof. But if it's not,
It's just a shed roof, okay.
if it's not pleasing to you, we can obviously just make it a straight shed. The other building type, as I described, was a duplex, and that would be this building style type here. And they are, as you can see, this model and this model.
So it's natural cedar shingles, asphalt roof, standing seam copper, roofs over the garages. Is that, and then brick?
Correct.
Is that?
That's correct. So here we have the duplex, much smaller elevation. We only have one of these. This is what makes up the body of the development here. And, excuse me. So I'm almost describing the other elevation, just removing the B. But we think this has a really nice scale to it. If the garage doors weren't in the front, it would almost have the feeling that it could be one large house. So the detailing is very similar. There's some changes in the back because two elements came together. So we feel this is a balcony off the rear. That's the difference between these two units. It's really almost mainly what happens in the rear off the master bedroom. And in the rears, on the ground floor, we'll have a nice patio for paver patios coming out the back, and obviously really nice landscaping. So strong garage doors, the materials you just mentioned. We think we have we're very happy with this element up here.
What's the flat white? Is it like shiplap or something in the gables?
Here?
Yeah.
That's gonna be an AZA trim.
Oh, a sheet good in the gable, so there's no seams, or are there lines?
Well, it depends. It ultimately is going to depend on the size. If it can be a sheet, like these could easily be a sheet board. This one here would not be able to be a straight sheet board.
So the intent, though, is to have it just a flat surface
Yes.
with no added.
Correct. And this one, if this window were to stay the way it is, we would wind up raising this up a little bit anyway, because this is too tight anyway.
And are those sloping out with the sort of?
This?
Yeah, no, that gable piece, in order to have the trim detail you have of the fascia with the sort of blocking on it.
Here.
Yeah, is that sloping out
This
the
is-
section?
This is out a foot.
So it comes and it slopes out, and then you have.
Whoa. No. This is straight, then it goes back, and then the
Got it.
brackets
Got it.
go back.
Got it. Okay.
And
where's the front door?
They're on the sides.
Okay.
Let me show you the side. Well, this particular, see them here? And actually, the next elevation I show you, that
Oh, I don't see them in the site plan.
the site plan,
Yes.
see right here?
The sidewalks.
I see the sidewalks, but I don't see that shed roof. Oh, that's coming out. The little roof, the roof that's on the side of the column?
That's just a covered porch. Over that. We do have. This is just would be both ends of, quite honestly, both building types, the 3 and the 2.
How far is the fascia board on the porch, call it, away from each other, from building to building? And do they align?
You mean this?
Yeah.
These?
Well, no, right there, right there. So
The distance between these two buildings, it's not noted on it. Well, actually it is. It's hidden by the landscaping. This is 20,
Okay.
20-something feet. But this, they only, these come out about 4 feet tall from the sidewalk, because the doors recess in a little bit.
How many different roof pitches are there on the building?
What do you mean?
Well, so like when you
You
show
mean
the
on
sides,
this?
yeah, so you've got,
Well, here you have like, let's say it's a 12 and 12, where in the front to back, except for the walkout buildings, these are probably mainly 6 and 7 and 12.
so it's a 6 pitch on the main gable, and then the cross gables and
Are like 12s.
are like 12s.
Right. Because the site does,
They're wide buildings.
the site does create a little bit of an issue for the, making sure we meet the height at the ridge, because we have some fill that the engineer is putting in, but we're being measured to the original grade. So we're keeping the buildings, even with the fill, mainly, a big part of it's here. That even with that fill number, which is like 2-3 feet, that we're still, our ridge height will still be measured appropriately.
And all the trim is AZEC?
Yes.
And it's as drawn, meaning there's no shingle molding, there's just rakes, so there's not any added detail on all the trim pieces that you have?
The windows?
Okay, so the window's just a flat frame around
At
it,
this point, but there, we may actually do
like a head casing and a sill.
Exactly.
Still, I'm not convinced about those copper tops on the chimneys. Just seems way only.
We can get rid of them.
Maybe
I don't think
suggest
we
a
don't
terrace.
have to them.
Okay.
We can, it's just, talking about just the chimney, right?
Isn't he right behind you?
Doesn't matter. He hasn't been killing me on design yet, so he hasn't priced it yet either. But you're talking about just the chimneys, right? You're not talking about elsewhere, right?
I think the copper's nice over the
Yeah.
entries and the
Yeah, yeah,
garages.
yeah.
All right, fine.
Real copper though, not the standing seam copper color,
That's fine.
right? I mean, there's a big difference.
Big difference. This is the walkout.
So
That's
now
the
you
wall.
got even a shallower pitch on that cross gable there.
And you'll see why. Let me show you the rear. Because we're still measured to the same standard. So essentially, the basement level, which you can see, that's the front. Here we are in the back. So we're meeting that height standard from here to here now.
That's gonna be 2 buildings. 2 buildings will be like that on the south side.
So that is the reason for, so what you see here, because of this. So, but even with that, I mean, we're still pretty happy with
This is the 2 that are over here on the side. Those are the 2. Yeah.
Is this all in Revit, all these drawings, or no?
No.
We don't have a 3D model of it.
Well, no, but our last, or possibly our next presentation is going to be 3D.
Yeah, I just think that you have these secondary massing geometries attached onto the primary gable, and I think the fact that you're just changing those pitches at will based on site conditions is something in the overall development that's going to feel very odd.
But you have to.
Well, you don't have to. You just keep trying to get another floor.
Well,
I mean, I get it,
this
but
is-
I'm just saying, like you're.
This is the front. I mean, nobody, as you can see from the site, the only people who could possibly get back here are.
It's not back there. It's actually driving in the development.
When I come in and you're visually tying everything together as if they match. But when I drive in here and I see this primary,
Gotta go the other way.
these are 4-pitch primary gables. These are 6 or 7-pitch primary gables. But then you have the same elements dying into them.
It's an odd. It's like an. It feels like an odd hierarchy that you've created on the site. That if the buildings are going to evolve and change in their primary mass, then potentially the secondary elements, these double dormers, the turret, the hip turret, whatever that is, and the other gable should change as well, so they feel like a different building instead of trying to match those elements on the face, but then you're massing, I'm like,
Well,
that
I
is.
see this as the primary mass.
No,
I don't see this roof.
But that's what you see though as you come around.
You see this.
See that?
You're not gonna see this as the primary mass. There's no way you're gonna see that. And you're certainly never gonna see the rear.
This is this whole roof line across.
Correct.
That is the primary mass. These are the secondary elements put into it. The fact that they happen to reach out and read from this elevation that way, this is the primary roof. This is a 50-foot, 60-foot ridge.
But that's just the front to back roof. The primary elements to this elevation are clearly these elements. It's not this roof. That's just a backdrop.
But isn't that roof what you see right here? Isn't that what you see right here? Isn't that what you see right here?
That's this roof. That's this.
Yeah, that's why it's the primary mass, in my opinion.
All right, well, I would disagree with that. To me, the primary mass are the elements that, I mean, even if you look at this side elevation, this roof is insignificant. And we've made it so insignificant that we've raised the wall height to this roof on the sides up to here, so that you see very little of that roof on the side. This roof here, we've raised this up, as you can see from here, so that we get even less roof as we look from the profile. So to lessen that effect of any pitch change, and this pitch isn't a 4 and 12, so I may, on the other ones, I may be more like a 7 on the others, and these may be a 5. But I don't think the rears are affected at all. I think the sides still work out in a very attractive manner. And I think the fronts, clearly to me, the front, this is, as you're standing, as you're driving, you're walking, and you're on the ground profile, this is a 2-dimensional picture. A 3-dimensional picture, this roof becomes insignificant. It's going back, it's going back shallow enough and far enough back. Your observation is going to be this wall. It's not going to be that roof.
Okay.
And, let me take this off. The last building type inside the hill is this building here, which is being called the affordable. There are 4 units, 2 and 2. So that's the duplex, non-affordable. This is the duplex affordable. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 units. 2 garages, so there are 2 garages, and these have entrances that are in the front. Again, that's these units here. We're looking this way onto the street, so this is facing the interior of the development, not the outside of the development.
Do you have that elevation that faces towards property?
No, right now I don't. So we have just this front, because we've just really developed a plan to this, so I wanted to put together potential elevation, just so that you saw sort of the direction. The materials are the same, even for an affordable. There's no change in materials, siding, roofing, garage doors, windows, all the same. And
Where are they accessed from? I see those 2. Where's the second?
Yeah, that's a general door that goes to, the floor plans show that door goes into both apartments, up and down? No, that goes for upstairs, and the other one goes on the side.
Actually, I saw something on the side, that was what. Okay.
here we go. See it?
Mm-hmm. So this is where you
Side entrance. So it appears that the people on the first floor get the garage, and the people upstairs. People on the second floor get the garage. Oh, really?
And on the site plan, there is parking ground on the site for the ground floor unit, which is right here, these parking spaces here.
Okay. That was my question. I know I didn't get garages, so I don't know where they were going to put their property.
It's right here.
The building would have been too big if we had.
No, sure.
Plus, they got the extra. Upstairs, yeah. So those are the real winners, the 3 bedrooms and the garage.
Well, during the approval process, it had to be 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms.
Right.
Can you remind us again where the visitors parking is? Just for the
in general, here,
How many spots are there?
We have
Just
6
curious.
spots here,
6.
and we have 3 extra spots. 1, 2, 9 spots altogether.
Where are we in the process here? Is this an application for us to approve now, or is this like a review at this stage? So when you come back, it's sort of like it's done.
We're actually approve it. We're actually asking you if you have any comments or anything.
I had a few.
I'll give my remaining ones and then I'll
You're
stop.
probably gonna white metal mine.
And then I'll stop.
And I would like to just say one last thing, is that the last time we were here, we were saying that this building down here, we weren't changing the exterior.
Right.
So, okay.
When you do come,
We will bring that up.
please, because I want to make sure that whatever we approve it in its totality. I don't wanna,
Correct,
I don't wanna say, well, what happened to, 40 South Broadway?
No, absolutely.
Even though there's nothing gonna be changing.
Absolutely, we haven't. We also
I just want it as part of the application.
You're not replacing the windows
Two.
on the old house?
Yeah,
like I said,
as in kind, the exact same size. Well, if you remember on the
But
front
insulated
elevation, it's
and
two
all,
different-
right, yeah.
There's one that has 2 different windows, do it.
But it's insulated and all that, and,
yes.
Yeah, they're gonna, the inside, as we say, is gonna be gutted
right.
and taken care of, but the outside, we're gonna maintain the existing architecture.
All right, Andrew.
I just a couple other things. I mean, overall, I think it's a perfectly nice approach, and but I think there's some inconsistencies in the approach of the detailing that it sounds like you're still developing. So these buildings appear to have a very embellished vernacular like style to them, but the trim, if done the way it's drawn, will feel somewhat watered down and a little bit cheap in some of the broader moves. As an example, like the rake boards should have a shingle molding piece. They should have an added 1x2 tracking around to create a little more depth and dimension to them. I don't think those gable pieces should be a big flat sheet of AZAC. I think they should be a shiplap material so that there's more texture and depth brought to certain components of the detailing. The windows, like you've done this one, the windows should have a head casing. They should have a sill and not be so flat. Otherwise, there's no reason to have embellishment moments like that, like this, like these curves, if you don't have that added detail throughout. It looks like it's a half-baked approach.
Okay.
So you either strip some of the other embellishments back, like these curved gable pieces, like the chimney caps, like the bracket, like you just strip it down and make it all simpler, or embellish it all to the same level so it tells the right story. Like as just a global thing, and I think once that depth is brought to the drawings, they'll come to life a lot more. There's like 50% too few lines on all the white. There needs to be more. It's just very, very flat. I don't argue that the massing in general I think is interesting. I do think these primary masses, when you put this thing in a 3-dimensional rendering, I think you're gonna see that the buildings are gonna feel like they're just pushed. They're pushed down because a big 50-foot 5-pitch or 4.5 pitch or whatever it is gonna look pushed down. And it's gonna look that way because you're trying to get this other floor in your floor area and getting it to work, and that's understandable. That's part of the metrics of business, but from an aesthetic standpoint, those buildings will not look good against the rest of them because the steeper pitches are far more attractive. So I don't know if there's a way to look at doing like an asymmetrical gable, larger dormers on the back side, and playing around with it to get the roof pitches the same. I mean, there is a solution to it. It will just ultimately affect your floor area on that third or upper floor. I have a problem with it because I promise you those side gables are what you're going to see driving up and down the street and coming in and out of this development. And a 5-pitch on a 50, 60-foot long piece is just not good. Like it'll look like a ranch with a bunch of dormers on it from a distance.
Well, and just so you're aware, it's not, the front and back roof isn't a full depth, it's only from here.
No, I get it.
Because this is all sticking
I get it.
out.
Yep, I get it.
That's way.
I get it how it's broken up. It's broken up very well, and I
I
think
mean, we can certainly bring these elements down so that the proportion might be similar, not the same, but similar. So if these proportions were brought down below the ridge, then technically they would have a similar effect as the other one where it wouldn't, the other one doesn't reach the ridge. If we.
Yeah, I don't mind it hitting the ridge. I don't mind it hitting the ridge. It's just the slope of it. If the
I
slope
think
of
that's
it
what
was
might
side-
be, if this came up, I don't think you would, just like the other one does, I don't think that'd be a problem. Because these meet the ridge, I think that's what's making you feel like this is squatted down. Where if these were not meeting this ridge, I don't think that they would have the feeling of this being oversized to this being, you feeling is undersized. So if these didn't touch the ridge like that, well, like I said, I can't get that. I could certainly play with because I can't change that for the moment. So, but I could certainly have an effect on these. As these don't come up to the top, I can play with these as they don't.
They have different scales.
Couldn't get it to work.
No. They seem to be exaggerated on longer. Could you try guess might be
No, just a lower plate height,
Yeah,
too, I
right.
think.
There
It
are
has to be
different,
to get the
we
height.
have different
Yeah.
plate heights.
Yeah.
This is- Because
Got it, yep,
this
yep.
is a dead space.
Yep. I understand.
But I could lower this without a problem. I'm already lowering, I don't know, I might be able to lower it, but I don't know, but I know I can lower these and maybe help create,
My recommendation would be, and if you're doing it, that I think this project warrants having a three-dimensional rendering with multiple perspective views taken to understand the massing geometry both from Broadway and from within the development itself, to better understand the relationship of the various structures. I don't think that's
Or even SketchUp.
or even SketchUp, just a three-dimensional model.
So you could rotate it and show us all the different views as we go around. It'll make it a lot easier to have this discussion.
And then actual materials too, so the shingle, stained shingle.
These buildings.
You could do the whole
Yeah, you
site.
do the whole thing, you should do the whole site.
well, they originally did that for the planning, but the architecture has changed since then. That was originally done as a requirement for planning, but the architecture is too different.
Yeah, we changed it.
It's too different since that time. So that was actually done, I mean, a whole visual fly around.
I don't need a flyer. That's a
We
waste
just
of
need to
money.
sit there and
That's a
rotate.
waste of money. Just some perspective views of the critical.
Okay.
So I mean, it's going to go a long way, and I think it'll reveal things to you too that in the depth of the buildings and in the actual materials themselves. That's all I. That's really all
So I'm looking, can you go to the site plan for a second? You have a whole face towards Broadway, and I know we'll look up the hill, the affordable, and I can't see what number that one is, just to the north of it. So again,
This,
that one, next one, that one, that one, that one. Right, so when I look at this plan, I know what's going on. It's pretty straightforward. You just mirrored it about itself. This facade here needs to be different. These need to be taken away, placed somewhere else. That's the AC units. And I would say, just looking at this plan, because I know we can't comment on the interior, but that's where you put the kitchen window on that wall, because it'll have a nice view out the side, and put the stove in that position, or some variation on that. And then really do put things on that side of the building that's about a facade that faces towards Broadway, which is what we see when we're going to be going down the hill. And treat that and talk about that when you come to us.
typically what we do is when we create a plan, the plan is just a kickoff point for the design of the elevation.
Yeah.
Once we create an elevation, start to create an elevation, it's going to impact the floor plan. So right now, this is sort of just a placeholder.
Yep, I understand.
And then this will be modified.
Yeah.
I can assure you.
I think what Ken is suggesting is that these four faces are incredibly flat, and this is what everybody's going to see on Broadway.
These faces have a lot of depth to them, and is there a way to embellish and create some massing definition to these faces here so that they're just not the big flat cut ends of the cake? Because this is what everybody's gonna see. Nobody's gonna see this
You're not
once
even gonna see
they
this.
drive up in there.
You're not even gonna see it.
You don't think we're gonna see it?
Not at all. You don't see it now.
When you come up the driveway, you'll see it.
Or when you go to the drive, yes.
But
On a beautiful fall day when all the leaves are off the tree, we're gonna see it. I'm just, it is, it's.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I understand.
Yep.
Today.
No,
Tomorrow.
no, that's it on that.
Yes.
Right,
so those are we gonna see what the view looks like from the aqueduct?
Yeah, they're not flat. That's what I'm saying. The rendering is it's not flat. It has the chimney. It's got the entry porch.
Yeah.
They might,
Yeah.
really nice entrance porches on that face, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Do we have an idea of what the buildings are gonna look like from the top of that?
Does the wall, we were just saying, does the wall so high that you don't see anything, or will we see something from the
Actually,
aqueduct?
you had a drawing that showed
The section.
just the upper part.
Right, the engineer said that, but, I mean, that's essentially,
So, sorry, it would be helpful to have the section, just taking it from the middle of the aqueduct.
That's what you see. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
so, and then
Only the upper half.
minus the fence.
Yep, yeah, no, I'm just to show a section, if there's any doubt about it, that's all. I think it's good.
Can you put the site plan up again? I just have a quick question, like 2 questions. Is the slope so steep that you can't have a path from the top to the bottom? That can't happen?
That was asked, and I know the answer was it's so steep.
It's so steep, you can't do it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so the next question is, the buildings in the back, the aqueduct, I'm gonna call them aqueduct.
West.
Yeah, the west. Is there divisions between the two? Like you said, there's gonna be a deck, flagstone in the back. Patios. So is there division between the two houses, two living spaces? You see what I'm saying?
Yes, this is,
No, I mean
Pardon?
outside.
oh, you mean, will it be any kind of fencing or
Right,
screening? Sure.
between the two.
Yeah, it could be done in landscaping.
It'll be done in landscape.
In landscaping.
It'll be done on
Yeah,
landscape.
yeah. Okay,
It's not the
nothing.
final landscape, and they're still working on the final landscape.
And there's like any other paths that go around?
This one here.
Yeah.
One there, goes to the aqueduct.
Oh, yeah, to go out to,
Okay.
So there's no,
to the fence.
there's
And
no
we're gonna do another one on the other side.
Yeah, that would be
So
great.
there's no
We're gonna do the second half for the people.
That's
what's
what
the-
happened, not doing anything, just one.
So that's path is whatever, flagstone, or whatever.
Yes.
Flagstone.
so just
The
a,
paths.
it's,
Down
so,
in square and, sorry.
Well, okay,
So it's at the top of the parking, yeah.
right.
That says proposed stormwater management.
So does that,
That's there.
the north buildings, those, they don't have a path. They have to go like that.
You mean to this?
There's only one path that goes to the aqueduct.
And that would be coming from here.
Oh, it's okay. No, I'm just thinking about the people who live on those, the Broadway, the first house is on the right. Yeah, the north.
Yeah, they don't have to walk over.
so if you wanna walk to Broadway from there, where's the path that I thought she was asking?
There's a path here.
Yeah, okay.
I thought you were talking about the aqueduct.
Yeah, I think the only thing I was sort of talking about was to put yourself in the back of the first, yeah. So that doesn't,
To go, where would you want to
Well,
go?
they don't really want
They don't
anybody,
want-
they don't want people going through the backyard.
sure, of course they don't. Of course, yeah. That makes sense.
I'm going to go back to one of my original questions. If you were a visitor coming in and you happened to pass the house of the person you were looking to visit, how do you come back around?
Go all the way around.
Go around circle then.
But they don't make
Really?
you see it go through that.
You got to make that turn around that,
I believe that's,
Yes.
that was answered by the engineer, that this is the way you turn into it.
And if you're a delivery truck?
Yes. They made it to the one way.
They made it what?
But he was saying something, I apologize.
No, that's all right. I just thought, I mean, if the delivery truck is going to try to make that turn, he's not going to have it. He's going to have to come all the way back out. Just a thought. If it works for the engineer.
But I thought he had mentioned that he might have been modifying that a little bit.
I thought so last time we talked.
But this is an old site plan. This is
Yeah.
just for.
I just food for thought as far as, you know.
Yes.
I,
No, it's gonna be designed for fire truck and all, to make that turn all the way around, to loop
Yep.
around.
okay.
Very
Um,
big fire truck.
Excuse me?
You're gonna have to go out to Broadway.
No, I think that's already.
So I just have one
Gotta
other
make that
quick
turn.
question, not pulling on the plans. What's the space in between, see the four of them all together, how big is that that space right there? Yeah, okay, just in feet.
This is 32 and a half feet.
Oh, it's pretty big.
34 and a half here.
It looks smaller than that. Looks good.
I think
That's big.
Code was 15.
15.
15, and we tried to push it a little bit.
These
so-
are 22.
Right.
This is 16.
At the point,
This one's
It's gotta be this
23.
between 30 and 40, in that area between the backs of the buildings.
there is no code between the rears of the building, there's no code there. They made a code between the sides of the buildings to be a minimum of 15, and I tried to push it as far as 20. You know, because I felt they were too close. So we tried to move everything around.
could you, go back to, the, first elevation you put up? Specifically where they show the balcony? Not that one. Yeah.
This balcony in the rear?
Yeah.
Off the back?
It just noticed that the balconies have very low, railings.
Well, they're 3.5 feet.
All right, that's what I want.
No,
I know that. I just wanted to,
It's a low wall
just want to
with a
verify
shoulder
that
railing
that's,
on top.
okay. Just want to verify that there is a 3 foot, 3.5 foot.
It is.
It's gotta be coded.
Yep.
Absolutely.
When you come back on the elevations, can you put ridge heights, roof pitches, and plate heights markers on them?
Yeah, we could do that
You
on.
can understand.
I can do that on a roof plan.
No, I want to see it on the elevation. I want to see
Plate heights, the ridge heights, the roof pitches on every roof pitch.
Okay.
Just to understand the relationship.
My other question is, you can leave that down. My next question was also on that drawing, and maybe this is just a layman looking at drawings, but in that B model, actually where B meets A1, those windows are the only windows that I've found that have shutters.
Well, to be honest with you, I think this window is going to evolve into that window.
Okay. But at this point, like I
Right.
said, it just looks
Well, we
looked
have-
odd that it was the only windows on either of those elevations that had shutters on them. And also, maybe this is just because it's a work in progress, but the columns themselves, the design of the columns, they weren't the same on all the columns. I mean, there was.
You mean these?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, I'm not even sure what drawing I was looking at, but the columns, the way they meet the top and the bottom, the way they round out, some of them, you know, they weren't the same throughout.
Kind of different ones?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just saying, it's just something.
They're going to be an H, B, and G cut columns. They're only going to be spectral. These.
And the only other thing is, when we do come back, we're a touchy-feely group, and we like to see samples of, you know,
Yeah, I think I was gonna bring that in.
the roof material and the
Siding.
siding.
One last question. Is that, do we, is there a lot of signage in the property?
Signs?
Yeah.
How to get to a unit.
Are there numbers of the units or any of that kind of
Well,
stuff?
each unit will be.
Yeah, it'll
will
be
have-
numbered. Each one
That-
should be numbered.
But in terms of street signs and everything, that's going to be for the site and the engineering part.
And then,
And they
is there a name, is there a name of, do we have a name? What's the name?
I believe you do know.
What's the name?
Well, we got started with,
What do we call it? I want to call it something.
what was it called?
No, I'm trying to say.
Are you
What do
using
call
Anderson
it?
windows?
Yes,
We all want
You
to
should do black sash and white
What-
trim
not a bad idea. We go-
and black garage doors.
In the beginning, we were gonna do Dunham Hill, and then as we
Dunham Hill, let's go.
were, because it was the owner's name.
Right, right.
But then the
Moving
whole marker on the property, the wall, so we went to Marker Ridge.
Oh, because the
And it
mile
sits on a
marker?
ridge.
Because it's a mile marker?
Sits on a ridge, yeah, with lots of kind of.
Oh, that's
We
awesome.
choose to take the consideration of the
Postal
marker.
Oh, did you talk to Paul was here? Oh, why was you
Yeah,
talking?
well, yeah, I did.
Oh,
So we wanted to make,
yeah.
so we're gonna have that.
Marker ridge.
That's what we're.
That is awesome.
It describes the ridge elevation of the property.
I think the marker was a big thing for the whole village.
It is.
It's a huge.
It's actually in the logo, the actual
Yeah,
marker.
so
We have
that-
professional
so the
photographers
logo and
shoot.
everything, we're
Irvington.
pointing out the marker.
That's great.
Our team, they all want to move to Irvington now.
Everybody,
Photographer.
everybody in this logo was huge on the marker.
Also a landmark.
So we made a point of pointing it out.
And it'll help find.
help
Because it's the
everyone
only
find
site
it.
in Irvington, in this area that has that type of marker. So why-
When there's one in
Well,
there's
there's
one
one
in
in
there's
Mercy
one back at
College.
Mercy College.
They want to put a
Not
plaque
Irvington.
there. We discussed it, they want to put a plaque.
That's a cool
Nice.
name.
We're gonna fix the
It's a
stones
ridge.
around it so it stands out.
It looks down to the
That's a
river.
good name.
It's a ridge, marker
Okay.
ridge.
Marker, I like that.
Anybody have
So-
all around the marker?
So Joe, that was just my question is, how's the sign gonna look? You know, that's the name of the sign.
We have it all done. We can bring that to the next meeting.
Yeah, we're
Logos,
designing
yeah.
That's great.
That's interesting, you know, the original name, even the Dunham Estate was called Hillside.
Oh, what's called Hillside?
That was consideration.
Yes.
We went through pages of options.
We looked at Hillside, but,
Come
we
on, man,
felt
that's too much.
Marker Ridge was better. Yeah.
I like it.
It spoke to the uniqueness of
That's
Franklin.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
Maker's Mark.
Maker's Mark.
Marker's Ridge.
Franklin. Okay, anybody from the board still have questions?
My only request, I think you answered, is that for the next meeting, if we could see elevations from the aqueduct, if you can or you can't, whatever you can see
Yes,
over
we
that
have.
wall.
We have. Okay. And we'll do some, take some changes into consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
It's very exciting.
You've been doing it too long now, you got.
They were brushing the marker. I was like, it's 8:30 in the morning. He was sweeping it, cleaning it all up.
It became a huge thing tomorrow. You know?
Thank
So
you.
we figured we can decide after the marker.
Enjoy your evening.
Right? Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you guys later.
Bye.
guys.
See you later.
Thank you. It's too cold to chat too long. I'm sorry.
He's not okay.
Okay, last but not least,
You gotta remember that.
Franklin Marker.
informal conversation, ARB 16-85, 130 Main Street, Fitzgerald Edition.
Hey, I'm tired.
Okay, a little history.
You are?
Went to the planning board, I'm sorry, Bob Riley. We went to the planning board in September, and the first thing from the engineer said that we classified as a demolition, and there were some questions, so then they said we should come to you. There actually isn't a mechanism to go to you. They said to come, but we can't, at this point in time, we can't come formally. So I would like to get started, get to see what you think of the project. And then work out some way to keep going.
Okay, well, why don't you make a presentation as to what's going on with the project and what you want to do, and
Okay, fine. The first submission that we made to the planning board had a traditional front, but they thought there was too much demolition. So then I said, you know what, I'm going to examine, and people gave me that if we looked at Wilford's Roost, and it turns out that that's exactly the front of the building there that's right there right now. What happened is, they took the columns down, but the windows are the same. It's actually the existing building with the new vinyl siding on it. So I immediately said, let's go back to redesigning the project so that we would emphasize the front. And so that's what I started to do. So this is a completely new submission from the one that came to the
planning board the first time.
Can I just interrupt you, just to be clear, so the historic photo that you have on the board, that's the original
That's the
house?
original, that's this right here.
Well, it's not what you're, I'm saying the photo to the right is the original house. What of the original house remains when you say it's
Right
right
there.
there?
Well,
Just that frame?
That other photo is actually what's on the property, down below.
Yeah, I mean,
That's all existing now.
Yes.
Yeah. This plus this bump right here.
That's what's existing now.
That's existing. This is 1850. We don't really know the origin of that addition, but I'd like to show you the foundation plan. Okay, that's the original building, and this must have been somewhere close to this because they extended the stone foundation, and that certainly wasn't anything in the the 1930s. So that may have taken many different shapes, but it certainly was closer to the original, even the bending windows and. So we don't really know when it was done, but it clearly doesn't fit well with the original elevation. So the starter was, because we actually have the basis of the original house, we would get it back to exactly where it was. We would do columns, the gingerbread, everything. The square footage on this guy right here on the apartment is 1,500 square feet. Yes. It's the tiniest thing you can imagine. So we know that you can just do so much with 1,500 square feet. So the Fitzgeralds want to move back to Irvington. That's his office. And we need 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and that started the quest of what's behind this. I think our emphasis at this point is let's examine how you feel. Does this meet some of your historic requirements? And as a starter.
Can you just walk us through the project as if, what you presented in the plans, what you're proposing?
What's in the plans? Sure.
Just so I can better understand what the objective is and what you're trying to achieve.
Okay, I think some of the basement plan is going to stay very much the same. There's going to be some structural modifications, but it's still going to be Bill's office. And then we come up to the first floor, and on all of your plans, it's shown where the existing is, and we're retaining the existing building. The whole principle is to create a very open space, almost a barn-looking space, and keeping the roof so that the master bedroom will be in the front. That's the master bedroom.
I think I'm missing something though. When you look at the front elevation there, it looks like you've got these big crossed gables on that original mass.
Yep.
But in the plan, it doesn't look like it's that wide. Am I missing
Right here,
something?
here. It's further back. Which one? Do you want to go on that?
Oh, I guess it's the basement plan that you're not extending.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't
got
show
it.
the
Got it.
peripheral.
It's the upper floor that's extending out. Got it.
Here's the first addition, which
I
is
got
the
it. I
third
got it.
floor.
Yep.
A 3-foot to be able to get the fireplace. Obviously, we're taking out the partitions inside. We're creating an atrium and skylights to get light in. I think classically what I don't think we want to do is, most of the side streets, Heather's house was my brother's house a long, long time ago. They all sort of follow the same principle. They have the classic front, but they have very ordinary sides. Only when you get to a corner lot do you get some activity on both corners. But all of them are just straight sides, and they have very little internal activity. So inherent in this is to take that volume and to get light in, and there's a gallery, so leading to the bedrooms, there is internal space and light coming down from above. And that's really the starter, because we know we can't, the total square footage is like 3,500. 1,500 of the original square footage that we're going to renovate, and the new is 2,020. So it comes to like 3,500, 3,550 square footage. It's not a big space. So
if you could just continue, just for my benefit, so you were on the first floor and indicating what you were looking to add. So the new addition includes a fireplace, the back rooms, the TV library, and you have a deck.
yes, you should look on the first page. You see where up there where it shows what was existing and what's added.
Yep.
We have an addition in back because we have, let's see, 20-some feet to go in the backyard, so we're going to do 13 in new and 10-foot the required setback.
Okay, so I'm gonna start this.
Okay.
So Bob, I really can really appreciate the restoration. That picture's amazing, right? Of the woman with the great dress.
Yes.
And the porch itself. I think there needs to be, it just feels like the addition has swallowed the original house. And perhaps that's the cross gable that's running against it, which you don't see in any of the village houses. Even at the corner lots, you don't see the cross gable.
There's some.
But it'll be a dormer, or it'll be, it'll come off the roof in a sort of shallow, less of a strong way than this is coming off. Because you have that main peak that's running through, and now it's running east-west, probably much, shallower than the main ridge. The addition in the back, I don't see any issue with that. I really don't, because it's happened all up and down Main Street. You don't see those additions in the back of the house, in the back of the houses, and it's not unusual to sort of end up with almost a zero lot line. This is a house with a front yard, which is really unusual.
Yes.
For this type of house.
All right, let's.
I'm just going to continue on.
Oh, sorry.
So the idea of an atrium, I think that's a great idea, but I also think that if you had the south face of the house be this light-filled kitchen and such, that you would have that would be a perfect place for those sort of the main room, master bedroom, the kitchen, and everything, and you would achieve your goal. The other opportunity you have here is the side piece that's been added on top. The side piece.
Yes.
And if that was expanded vertically, I don't see any issue with that. It's happened time and again on Main Street and on the side streets.
Well,
so it's one story. Sorry.
I had 35 feet, not that we couldn't get a variance, because the existing is, that's the exist, we weren't going higher than the existing ridge. Where am I going to expand? You expand to a third floor, you mean?
No. You've done it here, right, where you've expanded over the current one-story addition, right? You've done it.
Yeah,
Forgetting the cantilever for a second. So you can go up to the second floor. Maybe it's a different, right? Right where you've got it. Just what you're doing.
Okay.
But instead of it being a cross ridge, it becomes an extension of a shed dormer, or it becomes a flat roof, or it becomes some other element that respects the main north-south ridge of the house. Like all of the houses that are, or the bulk of the houses. I think of...
Give me some idea of where I might see that on Main Street.
Well, the one that's got the second story, well, 113 has an addition on it. 113 Main Street? That's the yellow one.
Oh, the yellow, okay.
The second. And then the one next door, and then the one next door also has a side.
Right.
And it doesn't feel like it, again, the
That's
power of
the
that
house, right?
The power of that house is that whole front elevation composition, right? It's 3 stories high almost.
Guess what the dimension is?
Of the addition?
It's a, no, of the, I'm not sure that has an addition, the one next to the yellow house.
Yeah, I don't think so. It doesn't.
Then it's the
I
one
don't think
next
so.
door.
That whole, that's the house.
It's
The
the whole
gray
house.
house,
All
yeah,
the way
that's
back.
the
Maybe
house.
a little bump here and there, but no.
Well, you know what, there might be, right there, Bobby, maybe on the west side, maybe just maybe, but very little. No.
There is
maybe.
virtually no room.
Yeah, there's no room.
Right, no, they're jammed together.
No, I mean, they are.
Maybe you-
In fact, the atrium was a,
I just, again, the cross ridge is just overwhelming that way.
okay, I'm,
That's why.
If it was a lower pitch,
You know, I mean, it's, I'm sure, you know, like, in adding on to historic structures, the newer additive massing elements need to recede against the historic primary mass. By matching the ridge heights, you are essentially saying, I want this to match the
Remember-
original structure.
you got to understand, when you look at it, it's not
Oh,
here,
I
it's
understand.
recessed back.
No, but it's not, but that, I would actually argue that it's not recessed back enough. The other, if you read the National Guidelines of Historic Preservation and adding on to it, you wouldn't add flanking planes within the first 1/3 of the mass. You're 2 feet back off the corner boards with these side pieces, or 30 inches back.
Where are we? You talking about here now?
I'm talking about the 2 sides. These are, this plane by your drawing looks like it's 30 inches back from that corner board, and so is that. And you've matched the
It's
ridge.
4 feet back. This is 4 feet back from the corner.
Let's look at the drawing. It looks like it originally was 4 feet back, and it looks like you pulled it closer to be like 30 inches back. It was 4 feet back from there to there, and you've pulled this line out in the new portion and aligned it back over here like 30 inches. I mean, it's not
Okay.
to mention, but the point is,
It's 4 feet back.
you've pulled a mass forward that has the same eave lines and ridge heights as the original mass. If you simply lowered the eave and lowered the
Here.
ridge on those 2 sides and pushed it back a
Oh, I
couple
can
more
do that.
feet,
Sure.
then you're gonna maintain.
This is the seam.
importance.
This looks like it's all in the same plane.
No, I get it. I know how to look at it. I know what I'm looking
You have
at.
to realize you're never gonna see that. It's always gonna be, in fact, this is from a photograph taken across the street.
Yeah, no, I get it. Trust me, I
No,
understand
I
it.
haven't got any problem doing that.
Yeah.
Let's see, one. Yeah, that's the bedroom area there. So there's definitely chances for, because, you know the smaller ones in the back? Like that
Yeah.
feeling?
Yeah, but you'd be dropping all those down. Everything would come down in order to break the ridge. But the primary historic piece is preserved, and everything else feels secondary to it. Right now,
Okay.
they don't feel secondary.
You're talking now specifically about how this
Historic
activates
mass.
on to the front.
Correct.
You're not worried about the back.
Well, it's gonna drop too. It can't be taller than it should not be taller than the historic ridge height.
How about higher, but of a different characteristic?
It should not be higher. It should never be higher. It's just not what you would ever do. I hate to be, like, I just.
That's why we're here.
I happen to work in a lot of historic contexts, and there's just certain rules that you just don't break. And matching the ridge height is one of them, matching the eave line is one of them, and pushing the additive, the new massing forward in the historic mass is something that is just, it's engulfing, as Ken said, it's engulfing the building.
Okay. Are you worried about, even if this is back 4 feet, are you worried about, is it this that worries you? Because that needs help. I mean.
I know, personally, I like the window arrangement you've done. I think it's more I think it's very interesting.
This guy?
Yeah, I think I think the window arrangement is interesting. I think you have a massing challenge right now. And whatever fenestration you're working on to differentiate it, that's the right thing to do. I think that's great. The massing though, I mean, Ken said it best. What you're proposing is eating the historic mass of the building. And you should just try to let it be its own thing and push everything down and back a little bit. And then I think...
How about higher and back, way back?
I definitely wouldn't do that.
Huh?
I definitely wouldn't do that.
Okay.
I definitely wouldn't do that, because that elevation you're gonna draw to
I
come
don't
here
have a
and
lot
look
of
at.
room from the ceiling of my bedroom
You
to
know,
this ridge
it's
line.
funny, everybody comes in here and says they don't have a lot of room. You have a lot of room, it's not built yet, you don't have anything. You can make it whatever it needs to be.
Eventually, to stay below the ridge line. Obviously,
Not stay below the ridge line. I think like Ken said, you can pull it down, you can put a shed dormer on the side there and get more headroom in the bedroom.
help me out. You're talking about,
I would draw on your drawing, but I don't think
No,
that's allowed for
go
you to
ahead.
do.
of course.
You take this, pull this down,
Yeah.
pull this down here. Now you put a shed dormer right here.
Okay.
You have headroom in that bedroom.
Okay.
Okay.
Pull that down.
In fact, those shed dormers can even be propped up a little bit, so you can get like a small window, like a
Yeah,
belly
no,
bumper.
no,
or
right.
something.
No, Penny, this is windows in it, exactly.
Patty, why don't you get like a purple light now?
Very important.
What am I missing?
I mean, this is constantly done, but it's sort of in keeping. You know, it's,
Okay, so what you're saying, that's overpowering this. So you,
this is the worst thing in the world.
It's just massing to just be, that I think
Bob, you're doing,
yeah.
you're being really I'm gonna point out, you're being really rigorous.
this should read, that should read as this geometry.
sure.
Now your ridges here should stop and come in at a lower
Or
part.
be a shed or whatever, yeah.
Yeah,
Or,
Okay.
that's it. I
But
mean,
You realize I have a cubic content problem to be able to get bedrooms in, not that,
I get it.
No,
I get it.
if I'm reading you correctly, you're looking to soften the scale of this. You think these two big wings are overpowering the main building.
That's exactly it.
Is that where we're
Yeah.
going?
And every new piece you add should be lower than the existing building, never taller.
Is it, the nature of all those additions that we're seeing, even right next door, across, Dearman, yeah, they all have, I mean, I was just looking at it. So they all have these, they're sort of random additions.
They're all
that-
horrible
man.
examples of what to do.
They're horrible, right?
They
They're
are.
horrible examples, but what they have about them is that they're random. And that they have a random quality over time they accreted to the
Yes.
house.
Yes.
The
The
rigor of,
one next to it, the dentist,
yeah,
that's very well thought out. That one hadn't been modified at all.
with those two double peaks, really? They look
The
like-
yellow,
Not the yellow one.
no, the one on the
White, I think, is.
west side of,
Yeah, this one. That's the opposite side. Here, this one. This one. That's the face. That's the east face. It's Dennis House.
where the hell was it?
We're on Dearman, and that's Main Street.
Yeah? No, go to the dentist.
Just took me a right. It's blocked by the tree, so that's the dentist. That's the side of the dentist. You'd never recognize it.
Yeah.
Because the main house, right, has the,
Is that on Dearman Street?
That's
the
Dearman
Street
Street, yeah.
elevation? Okay.
and it has
Because
two
what
ridges.
everybody remembers
Is
is
that, those
is
double
the Main
porches.
Street.
Yeah, yeah, the great
I
porches.
think you gotta pull, you should pull this back too. This is just way too close to that scoreboard.
That's what I was indicating when you did that. You've got this bulk back here,
Yeah.
right? You got a lot of bulk you can put on the
It's
back.
not that big.
Well, I mean, I know, compared to the Sorry,
Compared to the
that's not
original
fair.
house, it's big.
Well, now, what are we gonna do with 1,500 square feet? It was in the 1850s, that's your challenge.
That's what I'm with.
Well, I raised two kids in 700.
Left side.
Well,
Yours.
In the drawing.
Yes.
3-foot canyon.
Anyway, I think I
Okay.
said my piece. I'm good.
No,
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm just saying it's 10:30.
All right, well, I gotta get some,
Yeah,
I gotta get, especially because it's not on the,
you guys have more to add.
Yeah, my,
correct that you're looking to not quite so dominant the scale of this, because what you've drawn, if you're lowering it, that's easy. That's changing the scale. That's doing things. I don't mind, I like that idea.
I'm saying that's,
Look where the window height are.
I agree. The only thing I'm just gonna add a couple things.
Yes.
The massing is what concerned me. The materials will be important. I said the massing concerned me, but that's been addressed. The materials will be of concern. And for me, I'd also like to know if you're truly trying to preserve and trying to keep this house in keeping with the historic neighborhood and the streetscape.
You have
I'm
to
curious.
answer that. Obviously, I'm trying to.
I hear you. I'm curious what you're going to do with the front yard as well, in terms, I see you're not taking down any trees, but do you have any plans to change the fence?
We're here to talk about the basic approach to the front of the house. I mean, that's really, if we look at the legislation for tear downs, we know that they're talking about the main elevation, front elevation.
I understand. I just want to add, though, that for me, also the perspective of keeping this historical house and keeping with the neighborhood is also for you to take a look at what's in the front property as well.
Remember, this is your first, give me 5 more minutes? Sure. This is the first real big in the historic district and on the Chiquette. I've had people say, but Bob, they put dormers on that side. Well, I mean, that was done 20 years ago. Now, obviously, the dormers aren't going to help me at all. They're coming out. I mean, I have to find a way of getting at least 3,000 square feet, getting a frontage you're going to approve, and a reasonable, and certainly the atrium inside, because you go in every one of these houses, there are floors and floors, and every room gets a window, looking 3 feet away to the next window. I mean, I want the breeze to circulate through this house, that they're going to be delighted when they agree. So that's my challenge. I think I'm fine. I didn't mean to stop you.
Nope, not at all. Just keep in mind the front property when you go to do the front of the house. That's what I'm driving at.
Okay.
Could I ask a question? What do
Yes.
you want in the front yard?
I'm just curious what your plans are, because you
I'll
have
do whatever you want me to do.
We are going to come back, I'm sure, about the sign at some stage, because if you're trying to keep the
I'm
house,
not touching the sign.
you're going to leave the sign as is. Is that in historical keeping with the house at this
I
point?
don't know.
Because
The
right
sign.
now, if you want to comply
The
with
sign?
the sign code, you wouldn't, that sign would not be in compliance.
I've been told many times that. I'll change the sign if you give me, but somebody has to let me know. I mean, people in the town have to know that there's a business there too, or else I can't pay for the house.
I understand.
So, whatever, I'm willing to do anything, I don't care.
That's great to hear. Okay.
But, well, maybe I shouldn't have said it, it's so great.
No.
No, that's fine. I'm sure we could find a very nice sign that would be in keeping with the sign code today.
That's fine.
Why don't you get me some ideas?
I don't know if we're allowed to do that, but I'm sure Ed Marin could give you some ideas.
Oh.
Building
Here he is.
inspector.
Well, give me some ideas on the sign?
What's within the zoning code, yes.
I'm missing what you're saying to me. Help
I'm
me
saying
out.
that with what, he could tell you what would be approved today under the zoning code. The sign that presently is in the front of the house is not in keeping with the sign
Why?
code. It's
Why?
grandfathered in, the sign that you have. It's two-sided and it's too large. But we can talk about that at another time, but when you come
Okay.
back before us,
right now.
Yeah, no, all right, we can,
that'd be great.
we still have to recognize that that's the front door into his
I
office.
understand.
Now, if it means, but are you gonna want a sign hanging here?
Well, we could talk about it
Well,
another
no,
time.
but I mean, let's talk about it.
The sign, you could have a sign on a post, you could have a wooden sign, but it can't be the same size, and it can't be double-faced, and it can't sit
Okay,
on the
then
front
that's
lawn.
easy.
Yes,
I'll find out all the parameters on, done.
great,
Thanks a million, Kate.
thank you.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you.